All right. Hello and welcome. We have had quite a few exciting sessions today, and we certainly have more on the way. But most importantly, right now, we are starting things off with our Voice of the Customer show series. First up here, we've got a few faces on the screen, so I want to make sure I can get around to have all of them introduce themselves. My name is Nick Walsh, Technical Evangelist here at AWS. I'm going to be the host for this session. Elena,
Hi, Nick.
Giuseppe? Yeah. Any of you want to jump
Hi,
in?
Nick. Of course, yeah. I'm very pleased to be here with you both tonight. And I'm Elena. I'm principal engineer at the data platform at the Financial Times. I'm quite passionate with data, and I have been working with data quite a lot throughout my career. So today we'll be talking about data, and I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah. And hi everyone, I'm Giuseppe Battista. I am a solutions architect with AWS, and I'm have the privilege to be the solutions architect helping out Financial Times in their journey in the cloud.
Wonderful. Yeah. So thanks both of you for those introductions. Elena, certainly the star of today's show. Again, you mentioned principal engineer over on the data platform at Financial Times. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the Financial Times does, and then we can dive a little bit into how you make extensive use of AWS for that data platform.
Yeah, of course. Well, Financial Times is a global media brand. It's based in London, UK. The Financial Times has always relied on facts and data to deliver the highest quality journalism to our readers. We've developed the data-driven culture as part of the company values. We've recognized quite early that data is key to effective business decisions in the digital world we are living in. Therefore, how we manage our data internally within the organization is very important to us. My team is responsible for the central platforms at the FT, and one of those is the data platforms. This is the platform for telemetry and analytics data, and our mission is to deliver reliable data and with high quality in timely manner to our internal users and teams at the FT. So to enable decision making and product development. We have a very big and diverse group of direct users and indirect consumers using the data we collect. Those are the Financial Times board members using the data for strategic and tactical decision making, the marketing team for campaign design for our subscribers, also the editorial team, our journalists for monitoring the performance and the readership for the articles and the content they produce, as well as our advertising team for identifying sell and target subscribers group for different products. Of course, our product teams are using the data we are collecting so to design better products for the FT readers and drive personalization to help acquiring and retaining new subscribers. And all of those is possible due to our great data team consisting of analysts, business intelligence people, strategists, data scientists, and they are actually our main direct users of the data platform. And they are using the data to conduct analysis, build dashboards, reports, and train and develop models that are then widely used across the organization and as part of our products.
Wonderful. I mean, when we talk about a data platform, there's so many different things that could mean. Every company has their own strategic goals. What I'm hearing here, Elena, is that at Financial Times, there is all sorts of different types of data, either, performance data for, certain parts of the product or articles or pieces of data. There is telemetry into actually managing data for, various parts of your production system. There is using data as a source to train, and then I'd assume there's also part of it for inference on machine learning models. You're truly talking about a very wide breadth of business functions that data serves at Financial Times, and I'd imagine you're using quite a few different AWS services to power that. And to your point, even on your data team itself, or your data platform team, this isn't simply data engineers. This isn't simply analysts. This is a multifaceted effort to deliver a platform that fits all of the needs of your organization. So why don't we talk a little bit about maybe how that came to be, how the platform has changed over time? Did it have humble beginnings? Walk us through a bit of the timeline here for Financial Times data platform.
Yes, of course. Humble beginning is actually the right word to use, as the data platform at the FT has been evolving organically over the last 12 years. And a lot of bright people have been involved in its evolution. And all started from a single on-prem instance of SQL Server, where the first readership data was collected back in 2008. With the evolution of the digital business, of course, the need for more reliable solutions naturally came. That's how in 2014, the Financial Times became one of the early adopters of the cloud data warehouse offering by AWS Redshift. At the same time, the data platform team already had invested and built internally quite extensible and very innovative for that period custom ETL solution based on the Python tech stack. This framework was offering the ability to orchestrate and schedule batch processing jobs based on simple XML configuration. It has been supporting both pure SQL definitions as well as Python code. Having that, the internal engineering teams have been able to easily create new data workflows. With the evolution of the FT digital business, FT.com and FT mobile application, the need for faster data was growing naturally, and in 2016, the team has been looking at how to evolve the data pipelines so to fulfill that emerging need. That was the moment when a collection of APIs and pipelines to ingest a variety of data has been built. Example for such an API is the one for ingesting the readership events. From that API downstream, the data has been transmitted to SNS so that to enable multiple teams within the organization to consume that data. With this approach, the variety of internal tools for serving our business departments has been fed up with relevant data. Down the stream, to further implement the persistency, the teams were using queues. Some of the teams were using SQS, some RabbitMQ, depending on the use cases they had. For persisting the data to the data lake, my team is currently leveraging SQS, Kinesis Stream, and further Kinesis Firehose to retain the data in S3, where our data lake currently resides. With this, yep.
I was just gonna say, I'm glad the evolution to a data lake was something you touched on, because I think one thing that certainly can happen naturally is that each organization may want to have their own data in their own management sort of silo. And in the beginning, maybe that allows them to move quickly. But over time, we find that when different parts of the company need access to different parts of data that are managed by other teams, that can be really troublesome. So seeing this sort of standardization upstream onto the data lake model with S3 is great to hear. And I know that lots of other companies have performed a similar data maturity evolution with as well.
Yeah, that's true, and it's working quite well. But we still have some challenges, and actually, it's related to duplication of data, and we are now looking how to resolve that. And that's why we are now looking for leveraging Apache Kafka as an event store. And we are looking and working very closely with Giuseppe and the AWS team now to evaluate MSK, which is the managed Kafka option provided by AWS. And it was great working with Giuseppe, and it's always very productive collaboration.
Okay, thanks, Elena. No, it's being a solutions architect at the Financial Times is really difficult because all of their teams are very, very much heavy users of AWS services. So I think Financial Times is really ahead of the curve when we think about the adoption of cloud, and they are very ahead in their journey. And so this makes the job of the solutions architect a lot harder, because it's not just about, what can I do with those services? Or no, it's just like diving deeper in the requirements, trying to understand what is the best for their particular use cases. And sometimes what the best they can do is like try to involve the service team and actually work closely with them to stay on the curve, to stay at the same speed that it's needed for the Financial Times to keep their high piece of innovation. It's definitely a customer like the Financial Times is something that I would recommend to any other solution architect, anybody working in the field, because it pushes you out to the limit of AWS innovation, and especially with these type of workloads and the amount of data that the Financial Times is processing every day. It's just it makes my job harder, but definitely challenging and interesting. So thanks, Elena, for making it so.
Yeah, Elena, Giuseppe, I'm super curious to sort of hear the story here, right? Because I know you didn't start with petabyte data scale instantly or overnight. And I'd imagine that in the early phases, maybe working with S3, there wasn't a solutions architect involved from day one. Elena, maybe walk us through sort of how that engagement looked like with AWS and the onboarding of solutions architects and the familiarization with your stack to solve some of these cross-functional problems. Because as Giuseppe mentioned, it's not really just like answering a Stack Overflow question, right? It's not like, hey, what is the best tool for this, to solve this one error? It's how do we build a scalable infrastructure that will meet the demands of future features. So maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, what makes me happy working with Giuseppe is that actually he is always trying to understand our use cases and offer the best solutions for that. I can give you an example of a successful migration we did recently, and Giuseppe helped a lot with that. We were focused over this year in the evolution of the data lake, and we managed to optimize the Redshift clusters we have by migrating from DS2 and Array3 node type. And with this separation between the storage and compute available in Array3, we achieved up to 40% better performance depending on the workflow. And actually, that migration turned out to be assuring the stability of the data platform during this unprecedented 2020, when we had extremely high engagement and readership from our readers, relying on FT and the quality journalism we offer. FT has been one of the most trusted sources of information, and we are quite proud of that. For reference, during the US election week, we had even peaks of almost 20 million page views per second. This is 3 times higher than the coronavirus peak we have observed earlier this year. And just for reference, in regular weekdays, we have between 3 and 4 million page views per second. So that migration was quite key, and has been done in the right time with the help of Giuseppe and the team.
Yeah, this is a super salient point. I know Andy in his keynote, I believe it was yesterday. Yeah, wow, time flies. In his keynote yesterday, this has obviously been a unprecedented year in many ways, but one of the things that he touched on was, scenarios like this are the wake up call for adoption of cloud and for those migrations, because it is always significantly easier to self-start change or innovation earlier rather than when you're pressed and have to do it and your back is against the wall, right? When your site has downtime, you're putting out fires while trying to improve it at the same time, and that's naturally very difficult to do, as I know all of us are probably well aware of. So it sounds like this has been not a discrete sort of endeavor, right? This the Financial Times sounds like there will be that you will want to be implementing a large number of features in the future that are probably on your roadmap. And this relationship with AWS and solution architects, just like Giuseppe, is sort of ongoing, right? This constant back and forth and formulation and planning in conjunction with AWS to help you build out what is most effective for your customers, which are readers and consumers of the data platform.
Oh, yeah,
That-
so go ahead.
That's correct. Yeah, we are engaging with Giuseppe on a daily basis. He might be sharing more details on that.
Yeah, so actually the onboarding was quite an interesting time. As a solutions architect, you have to you have many stakeholders within the business, and you have the huge responsibility of being the ambassadors of the customer's voice in AWS, because everything we do in AWS is driven by customers. So and we we follow our leadership principle with the customer obsession to the letter. So you actually have to become part of the team and being able to to get to know all of these different stakeholders, trying to understand all their requirements, and then come back with something that makes sense in their context. So it's really learning to become part of a team. So that's and that comes with having daily engagement with different teams, helping them out with the weird requests that come out of the engagement with our services, and helping them out future-proofing and understanding their business outcomes, and after that, being able to deliver proof of concepts, or helping them come up with solutions that will work for their business outcomes. So it's an exciting job.
I can imagine, yeah. As part of this ongoing relationship, I'd imagine, that context that you have, Giuseppe, of what needs the customer has, you probably forward those along to the service teams at AWS for motivations behind certain products. One example, I know, Elena, we spoke briefly before this session. I know Financial Times is using a bit of Apache Airflow. I know the release of that managed service is probably quite exciting to you as well. And with an SA that has as much context as Giuseppe does, that probably makes it significantly easier to get up and get started with some of the newest, latest, and greatest technology here at AWS.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, we are currently relying on the Apache Airflow for enabling data democratization and enabling self-service, and enabling our engineering teams to use the data we collect. And we find Apache Airflow the right tool for us. And this is a project that we have been working on this year, and helped us modernizing and democratizing even more our workflow orchestration. We are aiming to support scalable workflows written in a variety of programming languages like R, Python, Java, and Spark. And for the batching pipeline, we find Apache Airflow the most appropriate to use. Our next thing is to achieve the same for the stream processing, namely having the ability to run language agnostic jobs using real-time data where possible. And we believe that having those for both for batch and stream processing pipelines would enable the internal teams to benefit fully from the data we have.
Wonderful. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time on this session. Giuseppe, you said the magic words before, voice of the customer. That's exactly the show that we're producing here. Elena, again, joining us from the Financial Times as a principal engineer on their data platform. Elena, it's been a real pleasure getting to hear the story of the evolution of the data platform and everything that's going on over there. For everyone else at home, stick around. We'll be right back with yet another session of this. So hang tight, and we'll be back in just a moment.